Okay, I want to take a little bit of time and make fun of MAGA Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders in this last Christmas segment. A bit of fun to end the holidays where she seemingly thinks she can sell Arkansas not only as a safe haven for those fleeing liberal blue states, but as a state that people want to move to in general. So I want to look at the pitch she gives, sees what selling points she's using, and then let's discuss data on why blue states will always be preferable to red ones.
It's official. Arkansas is the top state to move to in 2024. That really shouldn't be a surprise. We have one of the lowest costs of living in America, and my administration has cut taxes 3 times. We're investing in our schools, we're cracking down on crime, and we're standing strong against the crazy left-wing policies that are ruining states like New York and California. If you're fleeing a blue state to come to Arkansas, we're excited to welcome you. Just don't forget why you left.
This is another weird position that Republicans are just oddly obsessed with pretending reflects reality in any way, just like how they are with pretending like they poach Democrats and convert them into Republicans as they wake up to the truth. They also pretend that people are fleeing blue states en masse to red states because of, crime and prices and everything being terrible in these liberal states because of Democratic policies being terrible and never working and blah, 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 blah. You see this most often with Florida and California, where the lie is Democrats are flooding into Florida from California after it's been ruined by Gavin Newsom and his liberal policies, despite when you actually look, Floridians leave for California more than Californians do for Florida. But now Sarah is trying to repackage this lie and sell it for Arkansas, of all places, where we all get excited to go, of course, because there's that one thing we all like doing there, right? And I have some data here that I do want to highlight on Arkansas, not to take shots at the people living there, right? More of to analyze the state as a whole and how it functions, where I think it can help us discuss this kind of blue policies and their effects versus red policies and their effects debate that is very much being had at the state level. Arkansas is in the bottom 10 states in school funding and bottom 15 in overall school safety. They're bottom 4 states in healthcare access and outcomes. Those are 2 different categories. They recently banned things like requiring postpartum care to be covered for 12 months by Medicare because apparently to them, a mother should give birth and then be back to work within 8 weeks. I don't know. They have the 3rd highest infant mortality rate. Black women suffer 5 times the mortality rate of white women with similar education levels. They're bottom 3 states in overall health for their population. They have higher unemployment rates than the national average. They have the 5th highest rate of crime, 3rd highest for violent crime specifically. They have a much higher than average firearm crime rates. They're like top 5 or 10, probably because of their lack of gun laws. And I could go on with this list, right? But I don't want it to feel like I'm picking on Arkansas too much. I think the point has been made. And the point is, this isn't a state that people just want to up and move to, especially if they're considering setting their family up for success. So it's hilarious when states with these kind of horrendous outcomes for its people want to look at blue states and be like, we're the better option, and we'll look at California because it's often the punching bag of the right. California is outside of the top 15 in crime. They are bottom 3 in specifically firearm crime. They are top 20 states in education spending, top 10 in healthcare access and outcomes and spending as well in terms of how much people have to pay versus what they're covered. And they want to be like, well, at least we aren't woke. Arkansas is not woke, so we're better than California despite their outcomes stomping on ours. And, Arkansas has a low cost of living, like she brings up in this video, which the first thing, being anti-woke shouldn't be a selling point for anyone with an IQ above 70 who's older than 13. It's our vibes are better. Okay, but am I going to get paid more or what, right? And second, if we're talking cost of living, a lot of that has to do with demand and zoning as well. Zoning is a huge issue in this, which is a problem everywhere and should be addressed, but that's not California specific. But in Arkansas, what it is that you have more people leaving than wanting to move in, leaving more houses vacant with less people vying for those vacant properties, which creates a smaller demand, which doesn't allow prices to be driven up as much. I mean, it's economics 101. You think people who love capitalism would at least understand how it works, but there's so many people who want to live in Los Angeles on the other side of the coin, right? If it was as cheap to live in Los Angeles as it was in Arkansas, there would literally be too many people living in Los Angeles for the homes that they have. And that's not a knock on California at all. It's a knock on the structure of the housing market itself, on capitalism in the housing market, if anything, where we allow properties to be bought and hoarded and instead of sold to those in need, sold to the highest bidder. So it would happen like this anywhere where there is massive demand to move. It just goes to show, if anything, because we allow this, the success of blue states and the outcomes that they provide those living there, that is where everyone is wanting to move. But you can see this in almost any field you look in with outcomes: crime, economy, education, healthcare, infrastructure, environment, opportunity, happiness. Blue states routinely rank higher because our policies are more effective. They help more people and they benefit the baseline much greater than they do the 1%, which is why red states literally, like this is literal reality, fact, red states only survive because they depend on the money they are subsidized with by blue states. Yet, despite this, MAGA thinks somehow let's institute policies of these failing states at a federal level, and maybe that will help the working class. MAGA in that instance being the voters, of course, because the elected members of MAGA, like elected Republicans, know damn well their policies are for the billionaires, right? But they have to convince enough regular people to support them. That way they can enact them in law, which is why they want to get you mad about like trans kids and immigrants rather than, like wage theft and things like that.